Hello, welcome to episode 56 of the FastHeartMart podcast. It's called Why All the Wars? This is, I'll tell you about it later, but I'll just play a song of my own while everybody's getting in. See people in the chats here. Hello, welcome to episode 56 of the FastHeartMart podcast. What happened there? Why All the Wars? This is, I'll tell you about it later, but I'll just play a song. I guess it's playing. All right, that was a little bit of a technical difficulty there. I guess YouTube was playing the video in the background, so sorry about that. Let me play a song of mine. This one's called Choice. It's about choices, and, I won't tell you any more than that. I'm not right wing, I'm not left wing, I'm somewhere in between. I just wanna be left alone, to live self-reliantly. Let's try and talk calmly, without raising our voice. Cause all I'm saying is this should be a choice. All I'm saying is this should be a choice. You can solve your problems the way that you want to. I would do the same. There's more than one way to live happily and to play this game. I drive this old Prius and they drive a Rolls Royce. All I'm saying is this should be a choice. All I'm saying is this should be a choice. Cause there's some things in life that are better left into the hands of God. No one knows the consequences, and people have lost their jobs. So please don't try to convince me with a bunch of loud noise. Cause all I'm saying is this should be a choice. All I'm saying is this should be a choice. You say you know the science and wanna force your beliefs on me. But when I show you my science, you wanna call it conspiracy. Soon you start telling me that you think I'm paranoid. But all I'm saying is this should be a choice. All I'm saying is this should be a choice. All right, thank you very much. Welcome to another edition of my podcast. Some people like this podcast a lot. Some people don't watch it at all, I'm sure. But that's fine. That's the way it goes. Looks like my dad, he is in the chat there. Hello, Dad. Thanks for saying hi. Letting me know that we're live on this thing. Let me just make sure that we're still live on YouTube here, just because that was weird. That was a technical problem I've never encountered yet, where the video started playing in the background, but there's always something new and exciting on this thing. And I'm going to talk about why all the wars today once I confirm that we're live here, and other people are probably getting in. And of course my internet's super slow today, so it's going to be taking a second to figure out if I'm live. Should be, because I just heard myself in the background being live, and it's coming up. There it is. It says live. All right, cool. Sorry about all that. But on with the show. Let's see. Let me just look at my notes here. I've got a whole list of I just have a script, so I don't even have to think, which is nice. Just kidding. I don't have a whole script, but I have some things. So thanks for supporting this podcast. You can go here to the Venmo link, or you can go below in the description. There is links to all the ways you can donate and tip. So thanks a lot for that, and thanks for liking the video. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. And onward. Here we go. So why all the wars? This is a topic that I was a little reluctant to talk about because, as many of you know, I got I don't know. I got into a lot of skirmishes over the MAGA jabs, the COVID vaccines, whatever you want to call those. So I went way down the rabbit hole with that, and I was very stern, and I stood my ground a lot with that. And any of us know that did that, know that it was actually a lot of work, and it took a lot of energy. I don't know how everybody else feels, but a lot of us feel like that was a lot to stand up against that MAGA jab campaign, the vaccines for COVID, to stand up and push back and refuse and be outspoken and speak out about that issue was exhausting. I got into so many Facebook, Instagram battles, in personal life, people like personal friends leaving my life, and I still haven't heard from some of them. Some of them like super mad at me. And so when all these wars started happening, say even with Ukraine and Russia, and now with Israel and Palestine, I was just kind of reluctant to talk about it. And I don't feel like it is my duty to talk about these things because it really ultimately probably doesn't have anything to do with me, but it does. It does at the same time. Because here's the thing, why it does. The taxes I'm paying are going into funding these wars, all right? So, and the taxes all of us are paying are going to funding these wars. And you have to ask yourself, am I being complicit with this evil plan that's going on? And now I'm going to talk about that. This is a non-alcoholic Lagunitas IPNA. So it's a really good non-alcoholic beer. Cheers to everybody. Hopefully you're out there having a good day while we talk about some serious issues. So first I want to start this talk by saying that we all know, all of us reasonable people know that war is a terrible thing and should hope it would be great if it never happened. There's a lot of innocent people on all sides that are getting hurt and killed. And it is for those people that I am also doing this. And my thoughts and prayers goes out to those people and all my respect. And anything I say on this show is not at all against any of those innocent people. So just so you know that, and I get it. There's innocent people on both sides, all sides. All right. So I want to just back up a little bit and tell you how I understand war through my own personal life. And that is mostly, I like to talk about things that I know personally, firsthand experience, you know. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about that happened in history that we weren't even there, so we don't even actually know what happened. And then there's just stuff that is happening now that we're not even there. We don't even know what's happening. But one thing that I did witness firsthand, mostly, I guess, was 9/11. Back September 11th, 2001, I watched videos of planes hit these twin towers, okay, in New York City. And those twin towers, I'd been up in them a few times growing up as a kid. My parents and I, my family and I would go up and visit New York City. And one of our great family friends, she lived up there, and we'd go up to the top of the World Trade Center. And I always felt like a bad feeling about the World Trade Centers. Every time we'd go up there, I could not get down fast enough. Like, it was super spooky. And this is super weird, but a week before 9/11, 2001, I had a terrible dream that I was stuck on top of a skyscraper, and all the floors underneath me were gone. It was just the floor that I was on that was existing, and I was stuck up there, and there was no way to get down. That was a week before September 11th, 2001. Now, there's all kinds of explanation as to what happened with 9/11, of course. We have some really crazy conspiracies, and then on both sides, actually, we have complacency theories on one side that said that it was definitely Taliban, and we know exactly who did it, and then we had to retaliate and get them. And then on the other side of the extreme, we have people who think that those planes didn't even hit the buildings, that they were an illusion. They were just called holograms, and there was no actual plane. Just the buildings dustified or just felt kind of. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. But the point is, there's a lot of ranges of explanations as to what happened on 9/11, right? But as far as I could tell, when I was watching this video, live, I remember the day. Everybody was super somber. It was a really crazy day in the United States. It was like the first time that we'd ever been attacked on our own soil since Pearl Harbor, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And so everybody was really like, it was freaky. It was a super freaky feeling, I remember. And at first, everybody was just like super. Everybody was really unified. It was such a terrible disaster. Everybody really came together and was getting along, and I think it pulled at everybody's heartstrings to see this over and over on the news, right? And then as the days and weeks and months went on, we started to see what our government, the United States government, how they were going to handle this attack on us. And basically what happened is they decided, or our government decided, we were going to retaliate against Iraq and Afghanistan eventually. But at first, I think it was just Iraq. And it was like, wait a second, why are we going after Iraq? We don't even know who actually did this, do we? And it's like, well, we think it was Osama bin Laden and his crew of Taliban. And I'm thinking to myself, and a lot of people were thinking this at the time, well, if it's Osama bin Laden and the Taliban, then why doesn't our United States military track them down? I'm sure our military could find these people. Come on. You expect us to believe the United States military can't find people if they really want to? Come on. I didn't believe it. A lot of people didn't buy it. And that's kind of beside the point, because then what actually happened was it was Bush Jr. at the time, who I couldn't stand. I couldn't stand that whole thing. Being a Republican at that time was like, it was really, I didn't understand how anybody could be a Republican at that time. No disrespect to diehard Republicans or whatever. I just was like, it's a bad move. Anyway, Bush Jr. said, we're going to go over and attack Iraq because we think there's weapons of mass destruction, basically, nuclear power, nuclear warheads and stuff like that. Which, again, people were just like, well, okay, if they're going to keep attacking us and this time it's going to be nuclear, why didn't they just do a nuclear attack to begin with? But anyway, so we're going to go find the weapons of mass destruction, right? And as the months went on and the years, eventually, we realized that was a whole hoax. Like, there was no weapons of mass destruction, and it just started looking more and more. It was pretty quick. We realized, wait a second, these rich people just want to get the oil over there in Iraq, and they want to make money off of this. This is what this is. This whole thing was an excuse to attack Iraq and in Afghanistan, and all these innocent people in Iraq and Afghanistan were getting killed. And meanwhile, all of us were over here trying to protest this war and being like, we don't want to attack innocent people. We don't want to pay taxes to a military that is going to attack innocent people. That's really wrong. So that's when we realized a lot of us realized our government had gone rogue. And then we started to think, well, how long has our government gone rogue? How long has it been this way? Because we're just kind of noticing now. And this was probably, by the time the war in Iraq started, I think it was 2002, right? I think it was spring of 2002. They deployed the troops and hit the ground in Iraq and started doing all their thing. And again, another side note here, no disrespect to any of the soldiers that have been called to duty on any of this stuff, because they're just doing what they're told by our government. It's all of us that are implicit in this, and the soldiers are really the most innocent ones because they have to do what they're told. So I'm not disrespecting any of the soldiers, and never would. I respect our military, and I'm pro-military. I'm against corrupt government is what I'm against, and that's what I'm getting at here, is that us who lived through September 11th, we realized our government was gone rogue, and it was corrupt, and we started to wonder, well, how many times has this happened before? How corrupt is the government, and how long has it been this way? Because we had just gotten done with, Bill Clinton, who got a blowjob in the White House. Sorry for all the kids out there. I'm trying to keep this family friendly. The Bill Clinton got caught, having extramarital affairs in the White House, and so we were kind of thinking, man, this government is like way more corrupt than we ever kind of knew. Like, this is crazy. We've got a war raging against innocent civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan now, and nobody knows what to do about it. This is crazy. And the war raged on. We voted for Obama. President Obama was supposed to stop the Iraq war. Never did. The first thing he said when he got into office was, "Hey, we got to bail out the banks." And it was just like, what? We're gonna bail out the banks, and we're gonna keep this war going? It's like, what the heck is going on? So that's when me and so many people checked out of politics and government altogether. It was just like, this is crazy. So then, we went down rabbit holes trying to discover, like, what is actually going on. And if you look at it, if you go back, say, even to another one that a lot of us can agree on that was very corrupt, is the Vietnam War. You start to look at the Vietnam War and you say, what was that about? Why did so many innocent boys, young men, get killed in this Vietnam War, and we didn't even really win it? It was just like a war that raged, and all these lives were lost on both sides, innocent lives on both sides probably. And what was the point of it? The whole thing was like it was a farce. And again, no disrespect for any of the Vietnam veterans. I have so much respect for you guys out there. I'm not saying that. It's just, if you look at that war, and it's like, wow, man, so the government did that to those. I wasn't even alive at the time, of course, but the people who were alive must have realized, like, our government is completely rogue and is completely corrupt. Then you keep looking back, and you're like, well, what happened to JFK, like John F. Kennedy? What, did he really get assassinated by some rando dude, or was he taken out by our own government? And then you keep going back, and you're like, you look at the World War II, well, you look at World War I, and still people cannot understand what that war was about. I don't know what it's about. If you do, let me know in the chat. But World War I was like really, nobody knew what happened, but a lot of people died. It was crazy, apparently. But then World War II came around, and most of the United States citizens at the time, that was about 1945, I think, most of the United States citizens had still remembered all the tragedy and stuff from World War I. The American citizens didn't want to get involved in World War II. They were like, no way, we're not doing this anymore. We don't do that. And they say that, well, not they say, but people speculate, and I do too, that just like 9/11, there's probably intelligence agencies that knew Pearl Harbor was going to get attacked by the Japanese, and they let it happen because they wanted a good excuse for another war. They wanted to get the American citizens riled up to fight in this war, in World War II. Because before Pearl Harbor was attacked, nobody wanted to get involved. So none of the United States citizens wanted to get involved. But then the next day, apparently, everybody started enlisting and getting ready to go back to war. And you think to yourself, or I think to myself, or I think out loud to you right now on this podcast, that what about 9/11? Is there any way that could have happened too? Maybe the intelligence agencies knew that these terrorists were going to fly planes into these buildings. We have such good security. Even back then, our security should have been much better than that, I think. And these buildings got attacked. And is there any way that our intelligence agencies let it happen so the American people would get riled up and support another war? It looks like it to me. I mean, because when you can't trust your government because they lie to you and mislead you about weapons of mass destruction. Just recently, I think we were misled about the MAGA jabs, the warp speed, the Donald Trump warp speed and the MAGA jabs. We were misled about those, or most people were. I mean, a lot of people were. A lot of us really saw right through it because of 9/11. And we lived through 9/11. That's where I feel for these young people. These younger people who didn't live through 9/11, they have no idea how corrupt our government is, so they don't know when to listen and when not to. So they have no idea. So that's why and a lot of us were so outspoken, as the saying goes, don't hate the media, become the media. That's where it becomes our responsibility as elders and people who've lived through things to spread the word and speak out, whether they want to attack you for speaking out or not. That's beside the point. You have to speak out. It is kind of your duty, I think, to speak out and do the right thing, and not pay taxes. I'm not going to say that too much, but anyway, that paying taxes, as you know, is not constitutional, and that's a whole nother story. That I pay my taxes, but anyway, I don't like to touch that subject here on YouTube because it's a very touchy subject, but. Anyway, so the question then becomes, and I think this will be the best of clip maybe for this podcast. Is the question is, if 9/11 were a farce, if our intelligence agencies knew 9/11 was going to happen and they let it happen to get us riled up for war, and they knew back in 1945 that Pearl Harbor was going to be attacked, and they let it happen to get the people riled up for war. And we know Vietnam was a total senseless war, no disrespect to any soldiers. How can we also ask whether Israel let themselves be attacked recently? Or, they were attacked by Palestine, by some radicals, Islamists, or whatever we're calling them, Hamas, right? They were attacked by Hamas, but apparently Israel has the best security. It's called the Iron Dome. They have this great security, but how did this happen? These low-tech situations where they infiltrated their Iron Dome? Could it be that Israel's intelligence agencies let this happen to get the Israel citizens riled up to join and to fight against Palestine? These are questions that we have to ask ourselves because this stuff keeps repeating itself. The same thing with Ukraine and Russia. You have to ask yourself who's benefiting from all of this. Just like you did in 9/11, the Richman benefited from the oil that they got from Iraq. In 1945, of course, I know people argue that it's good that we joined World War II because Germany and Japan might have taken over the whole world, and of course all the Jewish people that were getting killed in Germany. I know, I'm not saying that. I'm definitely not saying that. Just saying that it seems like we're manipulated into all these wars over history. It seems like we're manipulated into it. Even if you look at the Civil War. I think a lot of those people in the South, and this is my personal opinion, I don't think a lot of those people in the South even had a reason to fight back. I don't think most of them even had slaves, and they were just being misled by the leaders of their time, just like we're always misled into wars. And that's always seems to be, wars are always misinformation and orchestration from the puppet masters. Any kind of war, really, even a war between you and your closest partner, is usually a misunderstanding of some kind. So all these wars, every war throughout history is usually a misunderstanding. And of course, people fight over land and resources and stuff. But you have to always wonder how much of that maybe could people work something out. Anyway, now I'm starting to sound like a hippie and stuff, but I don't know. It just seems like so many wars in history were senseless and orchestrated by the puppet masters to get money, to make more money. That's what it comes down to, and it's not easy to say that, but that's the way I feel about it. I question it anyway, and I'm not going to say I have a really good friend who lives in Israel, and he's one of my best friends. He's been one of my best friends for over 20 years, and I'm sure he doesn't really necessarily agree with my questions, but we're great friends. We disagree about things, and that's just what it comes down to. And if you disagree with me, I'm sorry, but that's what it seems like. And the more complacent we are with all of this stuff and getting riled up and letting the news keep just driving our emotions, just like it did for September 11th, it's wrong. And we should really stop participating in the madness. And the next song I'm gonna play, and this is is called Richman. It's called Richman. That's what it's called. It's a song of mine. Sorry, I got a little riled up. Went a little off topic. No, I didn't go off topic. I just went off a little bit got a little emotional there. I get a little heated because it just seems obvious that history is repeating all the time. And I don't know when people are just going to be like, hey, how do we stop this? And you have to ask yourself, well, how do you stop this? What do you do? And one of the things is you have to ask yourself, how are these things being funded? They're being funded by us through our taxes. And you have to ask yourself, how do we stop that? And I'm not going to answer that question because I'll get in trouble probably on here. But you can answer that question. All right. I'm going to move on to a song now. Looks like some Jared's here and my mom's here too. Jared Curry out of South Dakota. I just talked to him this week, and it sounds like things are going pretty good for him up there. I was ready to move to South Dakota earlier this week. One of my favorite market managers up in Oceanside got fired for a really terrible reason. I'm just going to say it. It was reverse racism. It was like, anyway, she got fired for that, and I feel terrible. She was really a good person and worked really hard. She had a moment of impatience, and it got caught on video, and she's a white lady. Everybody said she's a racist, and not everybody, but the people on TikTok or something, they just assumed she was a racist. But everybody who knows her, that knows Kathy in Oceanside, they know she's not a racist. She loves everybody, but she's really stern. And that's what happened. This guy was not supposed to be at this market. He was making money in a market he was not supposed to be making money in. He kicked her out. She kicked him out. And she got in trouble. Look into it. It's the Oceanside Sunset Market. Well, it actually happened at the Day of the Dead event up in Oceanside. And yeah, she got fired. She got fired for basically laying down the law. And she was, she was in a bad mood and she didn't do it well, and she apologized for that. She really did, but it definitely wasn't racism, and it's just crazy. I'm just gonna say it, and I hate to say stuff like this. I don't enjoy saying stuff like this, but it has to be said. If she wasn't white, she wouldn't have gotten fired. And that's. I'm not saying I love all people, all races. I do, but that's really what it comes down to. If she was any other color, probably they would not have fired her. They would have probably reprimanded her somehow. But she got fired, man, straight up fired. And she's been doing that job for like 15 years. And everybody, you should see the comment section. Mexican-American families, families of all ethnicities are supporting her. They're like, look, she's not racist. She was in a bad mood, but it wasn't racism. And so this is scary stuff. And this is why I'm talking about this, because this is stuff that's happening in the world. And we have to pay attention, because if we don't pay attention, put our heads in the sand, before we know it, we're going to be working in an iPhone factory in China. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. If anybody's listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, where he interviews the woman who escaped North Korea, that will scare you that will really scare you to understand what happens in North Korea, and the fact that nobody can talk about anything, and it's just a mad scramble for survival every day over there. Listen to that. I'll put the link in the descriptions to that episode of the Joe Rogan podcast with this woman from North Korea. It will really make you value what we have here in the United States of America for all people, all races, all nationalities, all religions. We can all coexist here, and it's a great thing, but we can't keep going this way. Things are getting really crazy. We have to speak out and stand up in a peaceful way. We have to stand up, and you have to ask yourself, how can I stop these people from getting all this money that's funding all these crazy wars? You have to ask yourself, who's paying for that? We are. And how do we stop that? Okay? All right. This song's called Richman. It's an old song of mine. These podcasts are, they're pretty interesting for me, so I hope they are for you. This is a song about a rich man who gives away all his money because he realizes he has so much of it that he could never spend it in his lifetime. And if he just gives it to all his kids, they're just going to be a bunch of spoiled brats. So, and that's what this song's called. It's called Rich Man. It was on my record called The Red Record back in 2005. Sorry about that. Excuse me. That's what happens when you drink non-alcoholic beers on the podcast. All right. Hang on a second. I gotta change harmonicas. Give me a second. What did somebody say here? No taxes before the creation of the Federal Reserve. That's right. That's right. Look into that Federal Reserve Act of 1913, and all those people were on the Titanic who got killed were against the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. Hey, Hilda and Randy, good to see you too. Thanks for saying hi. All right, here we go. This song's called Hilda. I'm sorry. My mom told me what happened to you. I hope you feel better soon, and your dog. It was terrible, man. That was terrible. So I hope you're doing okay now. I'm a rich man, living on the hill, and I'm looking at the city below. Street lights twinkle where the poor man sleeps. Poor man sleeps. I'm thinking about my money and wondering, how much do I really need to last me until I die? 'Cause even rich people die. I'm thinking about my money and wondering, how much do you really need to last me till I die? If I will all of my fortune to my children, it will only create lazy people when I die, or don't appreciate tomorrow. I'll go to my bank and give all of my money to the people living in the slums, in the slums, in the slums. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So, when I'm talking about rich people, I'm not talking about anybody that's probably ever watched this podcast. I'm talking about these Rothschilds, talking about the Rockefellers. These are the puppet masters. These are like upper 1% of the wealth in the world. They're more rich than, I think this whole idea that Elon Musk is like one of the richest guys in the world is a farce too. I think everybody knows he's not even close to being the richest guy. The richest people, you won't even know who they are. And they're the puppet masters. They're the ones orchestrating all this stuff. And they're doing it through the money we pay through taxes. We're funding our own demise, okay? And those are the people I'm talking. I'm not talking about people who have money in a nice house who live in La Jolla here in San Diego or whatever. I'm talking about like Bill Gates and even, Elon Musk style of maybe his wealth, but even more than that. It's like these people have like these are like people who own countries and islands and things like that. So don't get that confused. I'm not Not calling you out there if you're wealthy and you have a nice house or anything like. It's not like that. I think people should have wealth. People should be wealthy. I mean, I think people should be as wealthy as they want to be, as long as they do the right thing with it and they appreciate it. I mean, I think that's good. I think these really, really wealthy people that I'm talking about it's generations and generations it's been going on. Now, okay, these are all just personal theories of mine, and a lot of people share this belief. And it's, it does make a lot of sense when you start thinking of it this way, if you haven't already. I mean, it's like, if you always ask yourself why people are fighting, and if you even ask yourself, why does gold have any value? Why did we decide that? It's a whole nother question, which involves aliens. I think the answer is there's aliens that need it for their spaceships. They run their spaceships off of gold. So, just kidding. I'm just kind of playing around. I'm just kidding, but I'm not really. But that is a theory. That's an interesting theory that we were. Anyway, we were visited by aliens a long time ago, and they created us to mine this planet for gold, so they could run their spaceships. Okay, let me play another song before I start to sound like a complete crazy rabbit hole conspiracy theorist. But I love peace. I know a lot of people do, and that's the problem. Is they want you to take sides. They always want you to take sides, right? They always want you to be like, "Hey, whose side are you on? Ukraine or Russia?" And it's like, wait, I don't really. Do I have to take a side? I just want innocent people to stay safe. Whoever's fighting, they should be the ones that take the brunt of the blow. They should be the ones getting, hurt. I don't want anybody to get hurt, obviously. I mean, I don't want anybody to get hurt. But I'm just saying, the innocent people are the ones that are the victims. And that's happening on both sides of the Israel and Palestine thing. And it happens on both sides of every war that I know of. It doesn't seem like anybody's ever really... These wars don't really ever solve anything. We went to war against Iraq for 20 years and Afghanistan for 20 years. What happened? It ended up it looks like the Taliban actually won, right? Because they got all of our equipment. They ended up getting all of our equipment for our military equipment and stuff. Billions of dollars of our military. And that's happened over and over. It's a repeating pattern, like I'm saying. It's history repeating over and over. And the reason I'm speaking like this is I just hope I either embolden people that already feel like this to speak out, or maybe some people have never heard this before, and maybe somebody needs to hear this. So I don't like talking like this, but I'm a folk singer. This is what folk singers do. We talk, we sing songs about it, and I'm going to play another song now. This one's called Anthem. It is by Leonard Cohen. This podcast has felt pretty angry, I guess, but it shouldn't be angry. I'm just passionate. I'm a passionate person. I'm not angry. Please don't worry about me. I'm not upset or angry. Oh, well, we have every right to be angry with stuff's going on to innocent people, and it's being shoved in our face every day, Look what's happening over here. These innocent people are getting killed. We have a right to be angry, and I'm not super angry right now. I'm just saying I'm passionate and I want to speak out. All right. This song's called Anthem. It's a Leonard Cohen song. As you know, Leonard Cohen's one of my favorites. And on the second verse he says, "All the wars, they'll be fought again. The holy dove will be caught again. Bought and sold and bought again. The dove is never free." I think it's a beautiful line. I think the whole song, the chorus is, "Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything." That's how the light gets in. All right, here we go. Hang on a second. Birds, they sing at the break of day. Start again. I heard them say, don't dwell on what's passed away and what is yet to be. the war, they'll be fought again. The holy dove will be bought again, bought and sold and caught again. The dove is never free. Ring the bells, they still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. We asked for signs, the signs were sent. The birth betrayed, the marriage spent. Ah, the widowhood of every government. Signs for all to see. Oh, I can't run no more with the lawless crowd, while the killers in high places say their prayers out loud. Ah, they've summoned up a thundercloud. They're gonna hear from me. Ring the bells, they still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. You could add up the parts, there is no sum. You can strike up the Mars, there is no drum. Oh, every heart to love will come like a refugee. Ring the bells, still can ring. Forget your perfect offering, 'cause there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Ring the bell, they still can ring. Forget your perfect offering, 'cause there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Hilda and Randy says, sounds good. Martin, love your mullet. I like your mullet. Thanks. I'm glad there's a title for my hairstyle. It's really nice. Makes it convenient. I guess there's different types of mullets. I'm not sure what kind of mullet I have, but it is definitely a mullet. I'm liking it. I was talking to a friend, as I was saying earlier too, my friend Jared Curry, who chimed in earlier. He lives up in Sturgis, South Dakota. He moved there in 2020 he used to live right down the street from me here. And him and his family moved up there in 2020 to get away from the madness that is California these days. And I don't blame him. I think it was a really good idea. And I was calling him to just, like when that happened to my friend up in Oceanside when she got fired, I was just kind of like, this is crazy. So I was thinking about moving to South Dakota earlier this week, but I think that was just yesterday actually, but whatever. It's all good. Maybe I will. I'm kind of marooned here in California at the moment though. I don't really, my car is not in the greatest shape. It's in good shape, and I'm sure it would make it wherever I needed to go, but I just don't want to be wandering around too much right now with my car in the shape it's in. I'm getting it back into shape though, don't worry. And I was going to say that I have a friend, we were in a jacuzzi the other night having a good time at his place, and a good friend of mine, and I'm not going to say his name, but we were hanging out, and he was just like, well, Jesus said that give Caesar his due, basically pay Caesar his taxes, right? Which is not what he said. He said give Caesar his due, right? I don't think he said pay the taxes, but I think a lot of people interpret that to mean just go ahead and pay the taxes, and I get that. I'm not disagreeing or agreeing, but what if Jesus was saying, first of all, did Jesus pay Caesar? Probably not. He didn't have any money, probably. But did he mean that maybe Caesar didn't deserve anything and don't give him any? I don't know. But we're not dealing with Julius Caesar anymore. We're dealing with I think we're dealing with a whole different monster here. This is like a whole another level. And yeah, just something to think about. Maybe you could move to South Dakota where I don't think they have income tax, do they? They don't have some kind of tax there. I know Florida does not have income tax, state income tax. I'm sure they have other issues, though. I know. So, anyway, just want to bring that point up. I know we're winding down here. We'll play a couple more songs. I'm going to play Amazing Grace, I think, to end this, but I'll probably play this song that I wrote next. It's called Let's All Solve This. It's a banjo song. So let me get that geared up and ready to go. And I'm going to thank some people for the support, if there is any. It's been really fascinating how these podcasts, how the dynamic goes, the cadence, the feeling of it all. They're all different, and I'm into that. I like it. Like I said, I've been enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. People have been generous enough to make it worthwhile financially as well, and I appreciate that. There's not as many people today in the chats, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. All right, so this is a song I wrote. It's called Let's All Solve This. It's a song about everybody coming together and finding common ground and working out all the issues. Because we can blame the politicians. We can blame the rich people. I'm talking about the puppet masters. We could blame a lot of things, but ultimately the only people we can change is ourselves. And the only people we can control is ourselves. If we ever try to control anybody else, it's a disaster. Look what happened in Nazi Germany. Every time that's ever come up, where people try to control others and force them into doing things they don't believe in, not a good idea. So let's not try to do that. Instead, let's try to change ourselves and look at each other with common ground in mind. No matter how many differences we have, we're all human beings, which is a huge commonality. That's a lot of common ground. And so that's what this song is about. It's called Let's All Solve This. You can listen to it on Spotify and all your favorite sites. I don't know if I think I've played this maybe once on this podcast before. this live stream, whatever this thing. What does somebody call it? A pod tube? Oh, there's so many problems that we'll all have to solve them. Everybody come together and find a way. 'Cause this life is a blessing, so we better keep moving. We better enjoy ourselves each and every day. Seems like there's always something trying to keep us struggling. But if we unify, we can break some chains. Oh, there's so many problems that we'll all have to solve them. Everybody come together and find a way. We could blame the president and a corrupt government. We could blame a myriad of unpleasant things. But we're all the problem, and we're all the solution. Everybody has a gift and part to play. Oh, there's so many problems that we'll all have to solve them. Everybody come together and find a way. I know I'm not innocent, I know I'm polluting. Every time I drive this car down the freeway, and I keep trying, and I keep recycling. Anything to save us from a doomsday. 'Cause there's so many problems that we'll all have to solve them. Everybody come together and find a way. We could blame the president and a corrupt government. We could blame a myriad of unpleasant things. But we're all the problem, and we're all the solution. 'Cause everybody has a gift and part to play. Oh, there's so many problems that we'll all have to solve them. Everybody come together and find a way. Right, thank you very much. All right, let me go ahead and thank anybody who's donated today. I'll go ahead and say who that was. I'll call you out. I don't know if people like that. I think they do. Otherwise, maybe they would say if they didn't want me to. Tell you who. All right. Thank you so much, Randy and Hilda, for your generous tip there. And looks like that's it for today. And remember, if you're watching the rerun of this, you can tip anytime at the links on the screen there. Where is it? Venmo, and then down below in the description, you can donate like even months or weeks after you watch this, or years. So go ahead, go for it. Fund your guy who goes spouting off about whatever he wants to every week. I hope people appreciate this. I hope they understand what I'm trying to do here. You know, I'm trying to do some music, but I'm also trying to give some thoughts on the current affairs. All right. So thanks a lot. Go ahead and like this video right now if you haven't already. Please like it. Subscribe to my channel. I have some gigs coming up this weekend. One's at Nate's Garden Grill. Both of them are at Nate's Garden Grill. One's on Friday and one's on Saturday, both from 12 to 2 p.m. at Nate's Garden Grill. And then I'll be at La Jolla Farmers Market on Sunday. Tomorrow I have the day off. Woohoo, good for me. It's been a while. I've been working every day of not just music, but I do odd jobs and stuff for other people. And I put a lot of work into this thing every Wednesday, so this is always a lot of work too. So thanks for the support. And if you have any future topics or song requests, just let me know. I know my dad was telling me he wants me to play an old song of mine called "The White Man Stole This Land," and I will again play that. Maybe next week I'll do it. I wasn't prepared this week, and I think that's it. I'm gonna play "Amazing Grace." This song's been coming along well. I think it's going to be on my upcoming new album, which is hopefully out before the end of this year. That's the idea. That way I can submit my album for the San Diego Music Awards, which is cool. All right. Here we go. I think that's all I had to say. Kind of a quiet one in the chats there today, which is cool. That's fine. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Hang on a second, what's going on here? I can't hear mine. Hang on a second, John. That's what happened. All right, sorry. Let me start that again. I'm going to have to fix these headphones. That's what happened. My headphones cut out on me. I couldn't hear the bass. Let me make sure. Man. Let's try it again. Thanks for understanding. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. through many dangers, toils, and snares. I've already come. 'Tis grace that has brought me this far, and grace will lead me home. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I've already come. 'Tis grace that has brought me this far, and grace will lead me home. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. I was blind, but now I see. All right, thank you very much. Thanks, y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate that. It's always good to see you all in the chats, and I hope everybody out there is enjoying this thing. I did want to say one thing before I get off here, and I did say earlier, my friend in Oceanside, it's just, California's a great place. I don't mean to sound disrespectful to California. There's a reason I live here. I love it here. A lot of things to love about California. It's just gotten, as people know, it's gotten kind of crazy with the woke stuff, and that's just what it is, I guess. We're doing our best here to push back peacefully, of course. And maybe my friend up in Oceanside, there's a chance maybe, it wasn't just because she was white, but it's hard not to ask yourself that. Well, did she get fired because she was white? And that's the world we're living in these days. It's just crazy. So, sorry if I sounded kind of radical or something like that. You just, you got to speak out, and if it's wrong, then I'll apologize. If it's completely wrong, I'm open to the idea that maybe I am wrong. So, and I'm always open to that. But I do like to voice my opinions and make it known. Anyway, love to everybody out there, all colors, classes, religions, all the people of the world. Peace to all the people of the world, and let's all unite in one human race. Okay, that sounds good. And be good to yourselves, everybody. And I will see you next week. It'll be the day before Thanksgiving, so I'll hopefully somebody's here joining me. All right, see ya. See you next time.